Listen, stay with me until the very end, because what I am about to reveal will reach places within you that no one else has ever touched. Right now, as your eyes follow these words, the spiritual realm is moving all around you. You feel it, the strange sensation, the silent heaviness in the room, the moments when the air thickens, and the sudden chill that runs across your skin. You think it is coincidence, imagination, or fatigue, but I tell you this: God speaks through what your body perceives before your mind understands. You have felt more than others because you were born with spiritual sensitivity, a mark imprinted upon your lineage long before your first breath. Stay, even if something inside you wants to turn away, even if part of you feels exposed, as though the voice of God is piercing through the layers you tried to hide beneath routine, noise, and survival. Stay, because the battle tightening around you is not random. A spiritual war is raging, and you have been caught in the crossfire without knowing why. But I'm about to show you why shadows move when you enter a place, why you wake in the darkness at 3 a.m., why you feel a spiritual presence watching you, the pressure in the atmosphere, and the subtle whispers brushing the edges of your consciousness. You are not imagining it. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are awakening. You must hear every word until the final breath of this message. If you stop halfway, you will leave with a half-open door, vulnerable to what has tried to reach you in the blind spots of your life. But if you remain, I will close the breaches, expose the enemy's strategy, and reveal the divine purpose that has been waiting in silence. Your fears will not consume you, they will reveal a pattern. Your battles will not break you, they will confirm your spiritual calling. The heaviness you have felt is not punishment, it is inheritance. You carry the spiritual seal of a chosen guardian, one who breaks family cycles instead of repeating them. This moment is not entertainment. It is a direct address, a spiritual revelation disguised as a message, created for you, a turning point hidden in plain sight. And if you stay until the end, I will not only warn you, I will protect you, awaken you, and lead you out of the places where darkness has tried to corner your identity. Listen carefully. This is your urgent warning, your immersion, your awakening to the truth that has pursued you through spiritual signs, movements in the atmosphere, and those nights when you woke with a sense of being watched, your heart pounding without explanation. Stay, because the words that follow will shake the ground beneath your fear and open the path to your emotional release, your spiritual freedom, and your awakening. Ignore this, and the battle will continue in silence. Stay with me, and I will show you the way out. You have walked through days that felt heavier than they should, asking yourself why your strength did not match the weight pressing against your chest. You have wondered why the atmosphere shifts without warning, why certain places drain you, why certain people pull something from you that you cannot explain. You carried these mysteries in silence, convincing yourself you were simply too sensitive. But hear me now, your sensitivity is not a weakness. It is the doorway through which the spiritual realm has always spoken to you. The voice of God reaches you through impressions, discomfort, sudden clarity, and moments when reality feels thinner, as though something beyond it is pressing in. It is real. The spiritual battle has been tightening around your life, and your spirit has been reacting long before your mind could comprehend. You have felt strange sensations in places that should have been safe, as though the very air shifted when you entered. You have sensed a presence hovering behind you, especially in the late hours when you tried to rest but found yourself awake at 3 a.m., your heart alert, your eyes searching corners where shadows seemed to flicker. Sometimes it was a sudden chill piercing your skin. Sometimes it was the faintest sound, like a whisper brushing the edges of your consciousness. Sometimes it was simply the feeling of being watched. And each time, you tried to explain it away. Stress, overthinking, exhaustion. But it never passed because it was real. You have experienced pressure in the atmosphere, an invisible weight pressing on your shoulders or tightening the air around your chest. You have asked yourself, why does this happen to me? Why do I feel what others do not? Why do spiritual attacks find me even when I am quiet, minding my own business? Because you are not random. You carry a spiritual seal, a lineage, an inheritance that made you more receptive, more open, more targeted. That is why some emotional battles feel endless, why fear rises without explanation, why sorrow comes in waves unrelated to your day, why stress clings even when everything seems calm. This is not coincidence. It is the reflection of a battle beyond the veil. The spiritual realm is moving, and you feel it. Darkness presses, and your soul trembles. Yet even trembling, you stand. That alone is proof of what I placed within you long before the conflicts began. The enemy has known your identity longer than you have. That is why you have been attacked in ways others could never understand. They called you sensitive, fragile, overly emotional, dramatic. But what they labeled weakness was evidence of your spiritual awakening. What they called instability was the result of war waged against your destiny. Because darkness always strikes hardest where the greatest divine purpose is hidden. Think of the days when your spirit felt disoriented without reason. Think of the nights when sleep refused to come, when you felt surrounded though the room was silent. Think of the times when your energy drained immediately after being near someone who carried invisible heaviness. Think of the moments when anxiety surged suddenly, as though it was not even yours. You were not imagining it. You were absorbing spiritual atmospheres. You were perceiving what others were blind to see. Each time you felt these things, it was because the veil between the natural and the spiritual was thinning around you. You have endured spiritual attacks without knowing how to name them. Family conflicts erupting from nowhere, relationships collapsing on the edge of breakthrough, opportunities vanishing the moment you tried to move forward, cycles repeating as though an unseen force pulled you back into the same patterns. These were not just emotional wounds. They were signs of spiritual breaches, cracks the enemy exploited to suffocate your identity before you discovered it. He tried to distort your self-worth, to convince you that your sensitivity was a curse, to drown you in fear so you would never rise into your calling. But here is the truth. Darkness has pursued you not because you are fragile, but because you are chosen. You are not a target because you are vulnerable. You are a target because you are a threat. Your soul carries a level of light, a spiritual resonance inherited through your lineage, recognized by the enemy long before you understood it yourself. He saw the chosen guardian you were destined to become, the breaker of family cycles, the one called to lead others out of captivity. If he could silence you before you awakened, he could silence a generation. But look at you, you are still here. Even when shadows move around your life, even through restless nights, even with spiritual manifestations trying to intimidate you, you are still standing. You are still searching. You are still drawn to the presence of God, even in confusion. That alone terrifies the darkness. Your emotional breakdowns were not proof of defeat. They were symptoms of the intensity of your calling. Your tears were not signs of failure. They were echoes of a soul sensing danger before your eyes could see it. Every time you felt watched, every time you sensed movement in the atmosphere, every time you heard an unexplained voice calling, you were experiencing the collision of the visible and the invisible. I allowed you to feel these things not to torment you, but to reveal how attuned your spirit already is. Now the tension is rising. The signs are intensifying. The spiritual atmosphere around you is shifting faster than before. These recent days are not coincidences. They are warnings, alarms, the pressure of war reaching its peak. The enemy is pressing harder because he knows what I am about to awaken in you. He knows that the moment your identity aligns with your purpose, everything that oppressed your family line will break. He knows that once you rise, you will pull others with you. That is why he presses. That is why you feel it. That is why the nights grow heavier, the sensations stronger, the inner battles sharper. But hear me clearly. I am here. The voice of God pierces the darkness. And this entire sequence of experiences, fear, confusion, spiritual pressure, is not proof that you are losing. It is proof that your deliverance is near. Stay with me as I lead you into the next revelation, because everything you have felt will soon make sense. Listen carefully now, for what I am unveiling in this moment is not for the distracted, not for the distant, not for those who hear only superficially. This is privileged knowledge, revelation about the structure behind the veil, spoken directly to your spirit. Everything you have felt, the spiritual presence, the strange sensations, the awakenings at 3 a.m., the pressure in the atmosphere, the sense of being watched, none of it was meant to frighten you. It was meant to prepare you. You were never oppressed. You were being awakened. Now I will show you the way forward, the reason your life has unfolded as it has. What if everything that wounded you was allowed so that you would learn to see what others ignore? What if your tears sharpened your vision? What if every spiritual attack that struck your nights, every whisper that touched your consciousness, every shadow at the corner of your eye was a sign that you were being trained to detect movements in the spiritual realm long before they manifest in the natural? What if this variability is the reason darkness pursued you since childhood? Think about how early you began to feel what others could not. Think about how you always sensed changes in the atmosphere, how you intuitively knew when someone carried heaviness, how you felt invisible tension in rooms where no one spoke. These were not coincidences. They were indicators of your spiritual sensitivity, passed down through your lineage, the same lineage that carries warriors, intercessors, and guardians. The enemy saw this before you did. He tried to confuse you, to make you reject your sensitivity, using fear to distort your gift into a burden. But what if fear lied to you? What if what you interpreted as vulnerability was actually spiritual perception? What if what you called anxiety was spiritual vigilance? What if those nights when you woke with a pounding heart were not panic attacks, but your spirit reacting to spiritual signs and attacks forming around you? Darkness pressed against you because it recognized your potential to break family cycles. Cycles rooted not in flesh, but in spirit. The truth is this: you were not targeted because you were weak. You were targeted because you were chosen. You were not pursued because of your wounds, but because of your destiny. You carry a spiritual seal woven into your identity long before you knew how to name it. Now I call you to rise in that identity. Here is the dilemma. Will you continue to interpret your sensitivity as fragility, or will you embrace it as proof of your role in the spiritual battle? Will you keep running from the sensations you feel, or will you learn to discern them? Will you allow fear to dictate the meaning of your experiences, or will you allow the voice of God to reveal their truth? Ask yourself, why do your emotions shift suddenly when someone with spiritual heaviness enters your space? Why does your soul react before the conversation even begins? Why do you feel drained after being near certain people? Why does darkness try to disturb your peace right before breakthrough moments? Because your spirit is a radar. You perceive what others deny. You sense spiritual atmospheres without training. This is not a curse. It is preparation. Now I show you progression. Everything the enemy used to shake you will become the very instrument you use to stand. Your spiritual awakening does not begin with feeling powerful. It begins with understanding the meaning of what you feel. You reacted without knowing why. Now I give you the why. You felt without understanding purpose. Now I reveal the purpose. You are being trained. You are being formed. You are being sharpened. Every moment of spiritual pressure, every manifestation, every whisper, every night of awakening in the dark has been shaping a guardian. One who can sense danger before it arrives. One who can intercede for others before they fall. One who can dismantle generational burdens not by force, but by understanding. Here is the next revelation. The salvation I bring you is not a distant event. It is unfolding now. This is a unique intervention designed for your path. I am not simply saving you from attack. I am awakening you to your authority in the spiritual realm. You will no longer be a passive target. You will become an active force. You will no longer merely endure. You will discern. You will no longer unconsciously absorb atmospheres. You will command them through my presence. But for this awakening to take root, you must choose to see your story differently. You must allow your spirit to relearn what your mind misunderstood. You must view your past battles through the lens of destiny, not defeat. Ask yourself, what if every night of heaviness was training? What if every moment of fear was an invitation to awareness? What if darkness never wanted you to understand your purpose, because the moment you do, everything changes? Listen now. I have placed within you the potential of a chosen guardian, one who stands between light and darkness, one who carries light so strong it provokes reaction, one who breaks what others have inherited. You were born with a destiny of emotional freedom, spiritual liberation, and deep spiritual authority. You are moments away from stepping into it. But to do so, you must stop dismissing the signs I have sent. Stop writing off the movements in the atmosphere, the sense of being watched, the sudden shifts as coincidences. These are messages. These are warnings. These are indicators that your spirit is awake and responsive. And if your spirit is awake, then your destiny is ready. Now I ask you, are you ready to see what truly surrounds you? Are you ready to stop pretending the spiritual does not touch your daily life? Are you ready to stop hiding from the calling that has followed you since childhood? Are you ready to step into the identity fear tried to suffocate? Because the moment you say yes, the moment you accept that your spiritual sensitivity is a divine sign, not a weakness, everything changes. Attacks lose their power. Nights lose their terror. Whispers lose their influence. Shadows lose their strength. Not because the battle ends, but because you finally understand it. This is the turning point. This is the unveiling. This is the moment you step out of confusion into clarity, out of fear into awareness, out of trembling into authority. Stay with me, because the next revelation will not only protect you, it will transform you. Now receive what I speak over you, for this is not mere comfort, it is activation. You have endured the weight of spiritual battle. You have felt the tremors of the spiritual realm around you. You have survived every moment when darkness thought you would collapse. And because you stood, even in confusion, even in fear, even through strange sensations, sudden chills, and awakenings at 3 a.m., I now release over you a sequence of blessings the enemy cannot stop. These words are not prediction, they are decree. They take effect the moment your spirit receives them. I bless your sensitivity. What the enemy tried to distort, I now recalibrate. Your spiritual sensitivity will no longer burden you. It will guide you. What once shook you will now sharpen you. What once made you tremble will now make you vigilant. I bless your perception, that it may become refined, peaceful, and stable. Your soul will no longer unconsciously absorb darkness. Instead, it will discern it with authority. You are entering clarity. I bless your nights. The enemy tried to invade them with anxiety, whispers, manifestations, and fear disguised as chaos. But I now release my peace over the hours when your body rests. Your awakenings at 3 a.m. will shift from terror to awareness. You will no longer rise with a sense of being watched. You will rise with the certainty that my presence surrounds you. The pressure in the atmosphere that once felt oppressive will now be recognized as my hand strengthening you. I turn your nights into rooms of revelation. I bless your lineage. The spiritual inheritance that once carried cycles of fear and silent battles will now be transformed through you. You are the one I have marked to break what consumed the generations before you. I bless you with the strength to dismantle family cycles, to rise where others fell, to choose what others never understood. Because I have placed my seal upon you, every attack that touched your family will lose its power when it tries to reach you. You are the turning point. You are the interruption. You are the guardian I prepared long before the battle intensified. I bless your identity. You will no longer see yourself through the fog of fear or confusion. You will understand why darkness reacted to you and recognize that reaction as confirmation, not intimidation. You are a chosen guardian, not a fragile soul. You are a carrier of divine purpose, not a victim of spiritual storms. I bless you with restored self-perception so that you no longer misinterpret your own gifts. I bless your confidence, not arrogance, not pride, but confidence rooted in who you are in the presence of God. Your identity will no longer bend under emotional pressure. Your spirit will stand tall. I bless your atmosphere. Every place you enter will change, not because darkness retreats on its own, but because my light within you expands. I bless the space around your steps. I bless your home, that every lingering shadow, every invisible tension, every echo of old battles will dissolve. The air around you will become light, free of burdens. The spiritual presence surrounding you will be mine, not those that once tried to invade. No whisper will rise above my voice. No hidden force will overcome the peace I now plant in your environment. I bless your emotions. What once felt uncontrollable will begin to stabilize. Your sorrow will no longer appear out of nowhere. It will no longer cling without explanation. Your anxiety will no longer intensify under invisible pressure. Your heart will no longer race from the sense of unseen eyes. I bless your emotional world with balance. You will feel deeply, but you will not drown. You will perceive much, but you will not collapse. Your spirit will grow stronger than your fear. Your clarity will speak louder than any voice calling from the darkness. I bless your calling. I awaken your spiritual revival not as a moment, but as a transformation. You will step into spiritual freedom not only for yourself but for those connected to you. You will walk in discernment so sharp that no deception, no spiritual attack, no subtle influence will confuse you again. I bless your steps so that every decision aligns with my purpose. You will not wander, you will not repeat old patterns, you will not return to what once weakened you. I bless your future with direction so clear that even when the path seems uncertain, your spirit will know exactly where I am leading you. I bless your authority. The authority that has always been yours but was buried under fear now rises. Authority to instantly recognize spiritual atmospheres. Authority to confront darkness without trembling. Authority to pray with impact. Authority to break chains that once bound you. Authority to shine with light so bright that spiritual attacks lose power before they reach you. You are not stepping into a small role. You are stepping into the role I wrote for you. The one the enemy feared, the one your lineage needed, the one your future demands. I bless your liberation. Chains you never thought would break will begin to shatter. Emotional burdens you believed permanent will fall away. Patterns that held you captive will dissolve. I bless you with emotional freedom and clarity so deep that even past confusion will be transformed into wisdom. The heaviness that followed you for years will lift. You will finally breathe. Above all, I bless your path forward. You do not walk alone. My presence accompanies you. My voice directs you. My light surrounds you. Every step you take in this new awareness pushes darkness back. You are covered, strengthened, and sealed. Receive these blessings not as distant promises, but as present transformation. The spiritual battle around you is real, but so is the covering I place upon your spirit. Now that you understand your purpose, now that you acknowledge your calling, now that your sensitivity no longer frightens you, the battle changes because you have changed. Stay with me, for the next part will seal these blessings into your spirit and draw you fully into the freedom I have begun. Close your eyes now, for what I speak is not merely prayer. It is the sealing of everything I have revealed to you. You have endured tension. You have faced spiritual battle. And now I draw you into the center of my protection. Allow your spirit to receive what I release. I return to the revelation. Your sensitivity was never weakness but calling, never burden but sign, never fear but preparation. My child, I lift you into my presence, into higher clarity of the spiritual realm, so that every shadow that once tried to confuse you loses its power. I place my hand upon your spirit and declare peace over every place that trembles when you sense spiritual presence, strange sensations, or shifts in the atmosphere. I restore your perception so you no longer confuse attacks with vigilance or fear with discernment. I turn every trembling of your past into an instrument of strength. I speak healing now over the inheritance carried in your spiritual lineage, over every crack the enemy exploited, over every hidden wound that made you doubt who you are. I lift the weight of old family cycles, the emotional patterns that drained you, the heaviness you absorbed unconsciously. I restore your identity so you see yourself as I have always seen you, a chosen guardian, destined not to collapse under pressure but to rise as a breaker of burdens. I breathe my peace into the nights when you woke at 3 a.m., unsure if it was fear, intuition, or danger. I transform those moments into encounters with me. Where you once felt watched, I now place my presence. Where whispers once lingered, I now replace them with my voice. Where darkness pressed, I now fill the atmosphere with my light. You will rest without fear. You will wake without terror. You will feel without trembling. I align your emotions with your purpose. Anxiety that rose without cause, sudden chills without explanation, pressure in the air that once tightened your chest, I remove them now. I speak clarity over your spirit so that what once confused you now guides you. You will no longer mistake spiritual attacks for personal failure. You will no longer misinterpret signs meant for your preparation. You will move forward with confidence, knowing your perception is part of your awakening. I place my covering upon your calling. I open your understanding so that every revelation I have given you, the truth that your sensitivity is a divine radar, finds its home in your spirit. I complete the preparation I began when I showed you the meaning behind your battles. I return to that moment and seal it. You now know why darkness reacted to you, and you now know why I raise you up. I surround you with my protection so that spiritual attacks that once tried to oppress you lose all power. You will walk with confidence, knowing my presence surrounds you, my hand strengthens you, and my voice directs you. Nothing in the unseen realm will catch you off guard, because I have awakened your discernment. And now I bless your path forward. You do not walk blind. You do not walk unarmed. You walk awakened, restored, recalibrated, and chosen. Let this prayer be the bridge between the revelation you have received and the transformation you will experience. Let this moment settle deeply within your spirit. You are protected. You are strengthened. You are covered. And you are mine. Now breathe. Let this final moment settle gently into the deepest part of you. Everything you have heard, every revelation, every blessing, every unveiling of the spiritual realm was never coincidence. This was a meeting written for you, a return to the center of who you truly are, a reminder that the voice of God has been calling through signs, sensations, dreams, and awakenings you could never explain. You did not imagine the spiritual presence, the strange feelings, the sudden chill, the movement in the atmosphere, or the nights when you awoke at 3 a.m. All of it was part of your preparation. And now you understand why. You leave this message not as one oppressed by spiritual battle, but as one awakened to divine purpose. You know your spiritual lineage. You acknowledge your spiritual seal. You feel the power of God's presence surrounding you. You sense the shift in the atmosphere even now. And this is only the beginning. You are stepping into new clarity, new authority, and a new peace that darkness cannot imitate and cannot steal. But hear me, this path unfolds step by step. Do not walk away from this message and return to silence. Keep the flame burning. Continue receiving. Continue awakening. Continue allowing me to shape your spirit into the chosen guardian you were always destined to be. If you felt my presence through these words, if something stirred within you, if the pressure lifted, if the revelation aligned with everything you have sensed, then respond. Declare it. Seal what I have spoken. Your voice matters in the spiritual realm. When you acknowledge what you have received, you strengthen your awakening and push back the shadows that once hovered over you. Return for the next message, because I am not finished speaking. The spiritual battle around you is shifting, and each revelation builds upon the last. What comes next will deepen your discernment, expand your authority, and lead you further into spiritual and emotional freedom. You were never meant to walk this path alone. I will continue to guide you, step by step, word by word, awakening by awakening. Now go forward with confidence, knowing you are covered, strengthened, and directed. And return when I call again, for the next revelation will meet you exactly where your spirit is ready. #### closing message. Dear brothers and sisters, we have gathered here with hearts full of gratitude for the opportunity to share a message of love and faith with you. We hope that what we shared today has blessed and inspired you. We know that many of you have been an important part of this ministry, supporting us with your prayers and care. If you have felt the presence of God in your life through this channel, and if this ministry has been a source of encouragement for you, we ask you to consider making a small donation to help us continue spreading the message of hope, love, and faith. Every gift, no matter the amount, makes a difference. It allows us to reach more people, create meaningful content, and carry the light of Christ into distant places. Another way to support us is by becoming a member of this channel, helping us keep this ministry strong and active. As a member, you will become part of our virtual family and help us touch even more lives with the message of the gospel. To do so, simply click "Thanks" or "Become a sponsor" under the video. Remember, every contribution, large or small, is deeply valued.